Hi, my name is Jackie Steele. I'm a political scientist living and working in Japan and the CEO of enjoi Diversity and Innovation Consulting. On April 11th, we had the honor of co-hosting an event in honor of the 10th anniversary of the triple disaster in Tohoku, Japan. The event was called Co-Creating Disaster Resilience Through Storytelling, and we featured the her stories of young women's leadership in the disaster area of Tohoku. We hope you'll enjoy our event.
東日本大震災から10年が経ちました。これまで日本国内外から応援をしてくださった皆様、どこにいても気持ちを寄せてくださっている皆様、お礼と東北のその後を私たちなりにお伝えしたいと思って本日のイベントを企画いたしました。震災後の地域でみんなが幸せに生きていけるよう、その場、その地域で変革に挑み続けている女性たちの話です。
宮城県気仙沼市で子どもたちの自然体験活動をしています。震災から2年後の2013年、震災により海と人が遠ざかりつつあった気仙沼で、子どもたちが海と親しむことは、この地域で暮らしていくためにはとても重要で、タブーとされた海での活動でしたが、私たちはこの海の恩恵を受け、そして自然に生かされている子どもたちにはそのことを深く知ってほしいと思います。そんな中、こんなエピソードがありました。あるワークショップでの出来事です。自分の名前が代表の奥さんと書かれていました。自分が認められていないような気がしました。仕事の時は姓を旧姓に戻し活動することにしました。ロサンゼルスで出会った女性たちのたくましさ、自分で切り開く行動力、ありのままの自分でいいんだと思えることができました。この地球で暮らす以上、災害は切っては離せません。10年を迎えた今、たくさんの方々に震災を経験した気仙沼のこと、そして東北のことを伝えていきたいと思います。
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from everybody from all over the world, and thank you for joining us. At the time of 3/11, I was actually in Vietnam working as a nurse. It was almost calling. Although I'm not a religious person, I felt like I had to go there. I had to be with the people in need. When I got to the town looked like this. It was as if I was, in the middle of the movie set. But then at the very same time, I kept meeting the people of Otsuchi saying, yes, we're going to rebuild this town. This town will get rebuilt. This town will be fine. So don't you worry, it will be fine. So I was always curious as why they're so sure about this town being rebuilt will be fine. The hardware of the town will be built, will finish eventually, but it is the people that are going to make the town interesting and fun and also worthy of living. So we figure it is our job to empower the people so the people want to join raising the town, not by the hardware, but from the soft community building standpoint. What I see disaster preparedness now is how I live and how people live. Although I do everything right to prepare for the disaster, at the wrong time and wrong place, I might not be able to make it. When I realized that, but I have a connection of people here. There are enough people who care for him besides my family members and extended family members. So I'm very grateful. Like I said, when I joined the Oraga for 3 months contract, I thought I was going to help them, but it is actually people of Otsuchi that helped me to realize what life is and how wonderful the human connection can be.
2011年東日本大震災の時、私は5ヶ月と3歳の子供と自宅におりました。電気がない中でおせんべいだけを食べながら、本当にこの子はおっぱいが足りているのかなと不安になったこともよく覚えています。 一番最初に行ったのは、沿岸部から内陸部に避難してきた妊婦さんや赤ちゃん連れのご家族を支援する受け入れ事業です。私は助産師という資格を生かし、被災地に住む女性たちと赤ちゃんが安心し過ごせる場所づくりとしての子育てサロンの開設を行いました。私には一人忘れられない女性がいます。2011年、震災直後に会った A さんです。沢会で育児の悩みはたわいのないおしゃべりを続けて4年目の春、彼女が私に言いました。美代子さん、私幸せになっていいのかなと聞いてきました。実は彼女には新しいパートナーができていました。そして再婚を検討していました。4歳になった息子も彼に懐いています。しかし、震災で流されたと思われる夫の亡骸はまだ見つかっていませんでした。私は幸せになってもいいんだよと彼女を抱きしめることしかできませんでした。私たちにできるのは、新しい道に立つ女性のそばに寄り添うことだけです。産後ケアとは、産前産後の時期を大事にして、元気に育児できるように専門職やその他のスタッフがケアできることです。ここで産んでよかった。ここがあるからもう一人産んでみたい。と言ってもらえる私たちの地域をこれからもどんどん増やしていきたいと思っています。
I would now like to introduce another pioneer, notably in the area of seismology and disaster communications in the United States, Dr. Lucy Jones. She's a professor at Caltech, and she is also now the founder of the Dr.Lucy Jones Center for Science and Society in Los Angeles.
Disasters shake up your world. They shake up your worldview, even more frightening because so much is lost. But that same thing can be an opportunity for change. And I think that's what all of these women are talking about, is how life can become better, that good comes out of the bad. Recovering from disasters don't happen alone. Disasters don't happen alone. And the only way you come back is through that community. And it was a lesson that I've learned by watching what has gone on in Tohoku. It allowed me to see it in a different way. I can do the research studies, but your stories are the reality of it. And I think that it's a lesson that everyone should use. As one of you said, a disaster can happen to anybody at any time, wherever we are. The degree you're going to be able to recover is going to be the people that you can turn to, because recovery may be measured in economics, but it happens through people. When I was visiting in Otsuchi, Mio said to me something that's really stayed with me. One of the mistakes was depending on the scientists too much, and people didn't make decisions for themselves. And I think that's really important. As a scientist, I'm trying to get you the best information, but as a scientist, I also know I might be wrong. And to remember that we're doing our best, but we might be wrong, and it's up to you to make decisions for yourself. And every one of you are making decisions for yourself. And that's really powerful.
I would also now like to introduce our second esteemed commentator. Jim Ulak became president of the U.S.-Japan Foundation in November 2019, and he came to the USJF after serving nearly 25 years at the National Museum of Asian Art Freer Gallery of Art and Arthur M. Sackler Gallery at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C.
I'd like to comment, first of all, just briefly on something that each person said. To Hiroko's comments, she's engaged in a fascinating approach to resilience, to recovery. To go back and to embrace it, to me, is one of the great acts of courage, almost primal way that she has gone back to the sea. To have the courage to do that, I think, is a terrific lesson. I really appreciate that. Mio's comments were particularly striking. Vast experience worldwide, a nurse. What struck me was the notion that she redefined what disaster preparedness was. At the end of the day, there's nothing that can protect you. And that realization, that deep realization in your heart, is a profound lesson. You do what you can. To me, a very Zen-like notion. The comments that Yoko made were very striking. What she said about some of her people she helps, that she was able, through conversations with a woman, allow her to be happy, allow her to recognize that life goes on, things change, but disaster doesn't mean the end of things. I thought that was quite remarkable. One more thing that being an American of a certain age, my father fought in World War II, and it was only after the Vietnam War, and now, of course, America's involvement in the Middle East and Afghanistan, Iraq, and so forth, that we've come to learn about this post-traumatic stress syndrome. 10 years away from 3/11, obviously Japan is still going through this. And I'm happy to see that some conversations can begin that recognize that. Recovery doesn't mean building new buildings, getting clean clothes, getting back to normal. Recovery means a much larger healing. And I'm very impressed by the way our guests, our speakers tonight, are approaching that each in their own way.
15年間東京で仕事をしていたんですが、出産を機会に子育てをするなら自然豊かな自分が生まれ育った故郷で子育てをしたいという思いで福島に帰ってまいりました。心と体両方を守らなくてはいけないという思いから、子育て中のお母さんたちの健康相談会ですとか交流会をメインに担当し、NPO として活動してまいりました。辛かったのは、どんな選択をしても違う立場、違う考えの方々からジャッジされたり、非難されたりしたことでした。子どもの健康を考えて母子避難した人は、福島が大切じゃないのかと、逃げた人という扱いをされたり、福島に残る決断をした人は子どもが大切じゃないのかというふうに言われたりしたことが本当に辛いことでした。意思決定の場に女性の声が足りていないということを問題だと感じていました。そこに力を入れていかなきゃいけないと感じた私は、市議会議員選挙に出馬をし、無事当選することができました。20年先に未来を担う子どもたちが健やかに成長できる時代を迎えていくために、私たちが、そしてこの福島が健全な暮らしを回復するまで見守っていくつもりです。その時は価値観の違いを尊重し、認め合える社会であってほしいと願っています。
Well, my background is international cooperation. And in the past, I have worked in Brazil, Indonesia, and Honduras. And when the Tohoku earthquake hit Japan, I was in a meeting room at JICA headquarters. My role as a secretariat was to assist the community to get together and discuss how they want their town to be recovered and have their voice heard by the government. So the biggest challenge for me was how to get people actively engaged. So I remember the very first meeting I had with them. I asked what they need or how could I help them, but no one answered. So the meeting was silent. I said, okay, this is where I'm starting from. This is the people I'm going to work with. So, and later on, like with the help of a few leaders, like little by little, people started coming and the meetings became more active and we started holding festivals and other community events. When I was working in the international field, I had the exact same focus, how to make people engaged and eager to work on the project. So I want the government to be closer to the community and hear them more and work together, and the community to be active, and the government to encourage it, not undermine it, which happens sometimes. And what I'm being able to do is really small and subtle, and I feel like giving up sometimes, but like every small step in this direction is a meaningful, big step for me. So I'd like to invite everyone to see hope or to see some light in the role of local government and community participation, and take into account these aspects in your activities as well.
When you say it's the community that matters, government is part of the community. Our government structures, and it can be hard when government has been structured without our participation. Congratulations for trying to get in there and change that aspect of it.
Maki, if you die and don't have any good enemies, you haven't done a good job. Always die with having enemies. You don't have to please everybody. Work with government, try to be part of the government, but remember, governments will never tell you the whole truth. We're winning in Vietnam. Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. COVID will be gone in 3 months. All of these things are in my memory. Keep an eye on the science. That's very important in this period. Citizen science. Watch that Fukushima plant.
これまでのストーリーテリングとはまた違い、この後は詩の朗読のパフォーマンスです。
今回朗読する詩は震災当時、福島の浜通りから避難した小中学生の作文が元になっています。小学生が未曾有の震災をどのような心情で過ごしたのか、ぜひ思いを描きながら聞いていただければ幸いです。3月11日、あの日は卒業式だった。立派になった先輩たちを見て、私も再来年にはあのような凛とした姿で卒業証書をもらうのだ。今度は私が先輩になるのだ。と希望で胸が膨らみ、自分ながらに満足感を味わって部屋に足を踏み入れたその時、ゴゴゴゴゴゴゴ。いきなり大きな音とともに部屋が揺れ始めた。3月12日、その日は自分の部屋で床についた。と言っても怖くて眠れない。普通に家に帰り、普通に父が帰ってきて、普通にご飯を食べる。それがどんなに幸せなことなのか、私には分かった。私は心の中でつぶやいた。帰ってきてよかった。でも完全に帰ったわけではないことを忘れてはいけない。たった2日しかこの家にはいられないということを。迫り来る時間をどうにか止めていたい。明日朝にはこの家を出なければならないのだ。
本日は日曜日の朝にもかかわらず、あるいはアメリカだと土曜日の夜ですね。世界中の方たち、この時間にここの場所に集まってくださり、本当にありがとうございました。被災地にいる女性たち、あるいは復興に関わってくる女性たちも非常に多様だということ、それぞれが本当に一人一人違う困難に出会って乗り越える、あるいはその困難を抱えたままでも進んできている。そういうことで地域のレジリエンスを高めているんだ。自分のレジリエンスも高めつつですね、そういうことが伝わっていると嬉しいなと思います。では皆さん、最後拍手で終わりたいと思います。また近いうちにお会いいたしましょう。ありがとうございました。